All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the biggest, most fundamental ideas out there, nature.
It's a word we throw around constantly. We talk about getting back to nature, or maybe human nature. But have you ever stopped to think about what we really mean by it? Is it a place you go to on the weekend? Or is it, well, everything, the whole shebang, including us? So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's do a little digging. The word itself comes from the Latin natura, and that basically meant essential qualities, or even more literally, birth. And that, in turn, was their way of translating an even older Greek idea, physis. And physis was all about this really cool concept that things have their own internal blueprint, an innate drive to grow and develop all on their own. And right there, in that simple idea, things just doing their own thing, you get this major split, this dividing line that shapes how we see pretty much everything. So here's the classic divide. On one hand, you've got the natural, think wilderness, animals, forests, stuff that hasn't really been messed with by people. And on the other hand, the artificial, things that were dreamed up and built by a human mind. A rock is natural, but a brick, that's on us. Okay, to really get a handle on nature, we have to zoom way, way out. We need to look at the massive stage where this whole epic drama has played out. And this is it, Earth, our home, the third rock from the sun and the biggest of the rocky planets. But what makes it so special is that, as far as we can tell, it's the only place that isn't just dead rock and gas. It's got this unbelievably complex and dynamic system going on that we call life. And its story, well, it's a story of constant, monumental change, playing out over timescales that are just hard to even imagine. I mean, we're talking about its fiery birth, the very first flicker of life, and the slow, cosmic dance of continents breaking apart and smashing back together again. And this animation just shows it perfectly, doesn't it? Our planet isn't some static marble floating in space. It is a living, breathing, churning system. The very ground under your feet, it's on the move, constantly reshaping our world over millions and millions of years. All right, so we've got the stage. Now let's talk about the main character in this story, life itself. Because honestly, it's the single most powerful force that has ever shaped this planet. Think about it. It all started from some simple chemistry, at least 3.5 billion years ago. And from that spark, life started to completely re-engineer the planet. I mean, early organisms figured out how to use the sun for energy, photosynthesis. And in the process, they pumped the atmosphere full of oxygen. That oxygen created the ozone layer, which acted like a planetary sunscreen, finally allowing life to crawl out of the oceans and onto land. And wow, what a journey it's been. It's been absolutely dramatic. You have these incredible bursts of creativity, like the Cambrian explosion, where life just went wild with new forms. But you also have these devastating setbacks, like the asteroid that took out the dinosaurs. It was actually right after that massive extinction that mammals, our ancestors, finally got their big break. And from there, the path eventually led, a few million years ago, to a species of African ape that started walking on 2 feet. But the arrival of that upright ape, us, well, that introduced a totally new kind of force to the planet, one that works on a ridiculously fast timescale. You could say we've become our own geological event, almost like a human asteroid. Just look at the difference in speed. It's mind-boggling. That first big planetary makeover, the one where algae filled the air with oxygen, that took something like 400 million years. Us, we've started to change the planet on a similar scale in just a few thousand years of civilization. The speed is just staggering. And here's a fact that really puts our physical presence into perspective. As of just a couple of years ago, the total mass, the sheer weight of all the stuff we've made, our concrete, our plastic, our metals, now officially outweighs all living biomass on Earth. Just let that sink in. There is now more us stuff than there is of every single plant, animal, and microbe combined. And because our footprint is so massive, finding a truly wild piece of nature, a place totally untouched by us, has become incredibly difficult. A recent study figured that only about 3% of the world's land is still what you'd call ecologically intact, meaning it still has all its original animals and hasn't been significantly damaged by people. 3%. That's it. So when you put all this together, it's led a lot of scientists to a pretty heavy conclusion. We're not just witnessing another one of the planet's great mass extinctions. We're the mass extinction. We're the cause. And it's happening faster than any other die-off in the planet's entire 4.5 billion year history. So yeah, that brings this whole epic, billions of years long story right here, right to our doorstep. After all that time, we're the ones holding the keys now. And it forces us to ask a really, really critical question. I mean, we live in two worlds at once, don't we? There's this ancient, powerful, self-willed world of nature, and then there's the world we've constructed for ourselves, this vast artificial ecosystem of cities and roads. The big question is, how do these two worlds coexist? A huge piece of this puzzle is, of course, money, economics. But right now, our global economic system is often, well, it's set up in a way that's kind of insane. We spend globally somewhere between $4 and $6 trillion a year, every single year, on public subsidies that directly harm nature. We're talking about things that support fossil fuels or destructive farming practices. We're literally paying to destroy the very systems that keep us alive. And really, that's what it all comes down to. That's the thought I want to leave you with. We came from nature. We are a part of it, made of the exact same stuff as the stars and the planet. So the question isn't if we're connected to nature anymore. The real question is, what is our role in it? Are we going to be a partner in this incredible ongoing story, or are we its final greatest test?